welcome to Zolve Education Loan Fest, where we make your study abroad dreams a reality. Hi, my name is Sayam Devi. I'll be your host today, and we are thrilled to have you here as we connect you with our top leaders, industry experts, and exclusive loan offer that you won't find anywhere else. So, to break this down further, we have two industry experts with us today who will share their insights on the education loan landscape, lender expectations, and how you guys can increase your chance of getting approvals. So, let's welcome Adarsh Zohal, head of Credila, and along with him, we have Mr. Shekhar, assistant vice president from Avanse. Hello.
Hi, Shreya.
First, for thank you for joining us. Okay. So I have few questions to ask. So, how is the education loan market evolving in 2025?
Yeah, if you look at education loan market per se, as everybody is aware, right, how
Mhm.
trends have changed in 2025 versus probably the last 2 years. There's been a lot of movement in terms of the loans per se to what it used to be prior the COVID. So post COVID,
Yeah.
there was obviously a buildup of students who wanted to go. So there was an obvious splurge compared to the previous years. And now what I would suggest is it's more of a normalization of the market that is happening currently. And though it looks like a dip, it in actual terms we should not consider it as a dip because there was a growth over the last 2 years, and comparing it on an oversized base would obviously look like a dip. The market per se, in terms of it, is normalizing its trend, and there have been a lot of visas that were that haven't gone through this year, primarily because there was more scrutinizing and a lesser number of students that were so it was normalizing the trend which was being followed over the last 2 years, since there was a lot of students who
Yeah.
there was a pent up demand for those 2 years when the COVID, students didn't go through. And if you look at it from a long stand perspective, there's a change even in terms of the kind of courses people are preferring, from hybrid to skill based training courses. There's a lot of demand that's picked up there. We also see a lot, this gives students opportunities to cut down on their costs, do take part time jobs for people who are there. And for students from India, it would be an opportunity wherein which they would be able to complete most of their program in these hybrid models, and also give them opportunities to be more uh, to get a more practical approach for their programs, rather than just studies like how it used to be. So there is a
Yeah.
trend change there. We also see like the popular destinations like USA, UK, Canada, where we see a
Mhm.
lot of where majority of the students were going. We see a lot of East European countries picking up right now. So we have Latvia, Lithuania, we have Singapore picking up, Malaysia, even the Asia part, which is picking up with in terms of the number of students who were prior going to other countries. Like the majority of them who are going to US, UK have also started thinking these as alternative destinations, where we are able to even find there's a cut down on cost. The cost of the living comes down a little bit. Even the tuition per se is not as high as compared to the US and other countries. So we see this general shift. I don't see an overall dip in the market. In terms of when you look at it from Credila's per se itself, from my own perspective, when we look at it from Credila. So although there has been fresh people who are going in, if you compare it to an absolute number from the last year, there may be a dip of 10 to 15% on an overall base. But in terms of the actual value of disbursement, there has been not much of an effect, primarily because there's been increase in costs, and there have been a lot of people who are coming back for loan enhancements and taking disbursements per se.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in the near term, I think it is a course correction that the market is showing. But in the long term, this is going to happen. It's going to stay. And people who are preferring into study abroad is an ever increasing trend. And it will this might be a normalization year for this fall maybe, but it should slightly pick up post that. And alternative
Okay.
destinations will also start picking up. That's my viewpoint.
Okay. Okay. So thank you. And Mr. Rao, do you have anything to say on this?
Not much. We just say that effectively good students, good colleges, and if they are prepared, they will always succeed, they will always get the visas. All the countries do require skilled people. And
Yeah.
so this story is not going to end. Probably slight dip here and there, we can say, but overall number of students who were going when I joined this industry compared to that, it has almost increased 10 times. And this is one this where student visas are actually increasing year on year. If I say across the countries, if you see, number of students who are going to abroad are increasing. Indian students are in very high demand because they bring with them STEM knowledge. They bring excellent work culture. So Indian students, yes, number, if I see the trend is always overall the number of students who are going abroad is increasing only, and in future it will go further only, even though the world market and war and everything has not effectively ensured that number of students have dipped. Actually, number of students going from India has increased. Yes, the composition may be different. Probably people would have gone lesser to Canada because of political reasons. So, but they have got, whether the France has opened up, there are Eastern European countries like others said, those have opened up. Because if the good students will get avenues to study, one, and they will have a very bright future. So overall, this industry, yes, it is. I mean, people going to abroad and opportunities for students in abroad will keep on increasing. That's the overall perspective.
Okay. So I have few more questions, four to be precise. So, as a student, so let's say what factors, if I'm a student, I would like to know what factors determine a student's loan approval chances. So because they are, it's a very big step for them. They would like to know each and everything so that the
Agree.
chances of the loan approval getting high.
Siam, what I would suggest, see, the center
Mhm.
point of this education loan per se, the center point of this entire industry also is primarily the students. So, if the student has had a interest towards studies, has been faring quite well right from the start, and has a focused approach towards his studies, and has a reason why he's chosen the specific university and course, be it whichever country they're going to. Like I said, we have also opened up to other countries. We see a lot of trend of students moving from not just the US and Canada, but from other countries as well. So student per se, and the quality of student per se, in terms of how he has, not exactly in terms of metrics of what he has got in his 10th or the 12th or any specific grade, but also in general how much value addition has been done apart in terms of education per se, which he has pursued right from the start till the time he has applied, and which universities he's applied, plays a pivotal role. That's one of the most important roles of an education loan determinant. So someone who is versus someone who is not clueless, and he has changed his stream of study, or probably there is a lesser focus on which university he is applying for, to someone who is more focused, obviously there will be a difference. And in terms of the other factors would obviously be, if, yeah, if there are certain things which you feel that which are not up to the mark, maybe then you would giving a collateral will always certainly help in increasing the chances of the sanction. And also in terms of the co-borrower, so co-borrower, not necessarily, generally we prefer the parents and the the first line of relatives to be on the loan structure, who would be either working, or who have a background of having their own business, but have been doing regular filing of their income and stuff like that. Would add an added advantage to the loan sanction, would definitely make it more viable for higher sanction ratios, but it certainly won't be the only factor that it determines. So the multiple things that
That
add up into
won't be an issue if someone is not coming from a business background, something.
right.
Uh,
So, if
okay.
even if there are certain students where we find that the program and the course and the university that is going is really good, and probably doesn't have a collateral to offer, and even let us assume the parents or probably the close relatives or the brothers and sisters are not working, but we have some kind of family income that keeps coming either through agriculture and stuff which is there, but the student is generally bright and is going to a very good university, so we do get these loans through. So it depends on multiple factors, but virtually the pivotal point will always be the student. And if that remains good, and if there has been no hassles, that there is always chances or higher chance of things getting through, rather than the other three or rather four factors which I mentioned, which also play a role. Yeah, but not
Okay.
the only one.
So, Mr. Shekhar, Mr. Rao, what would you like to say?
See, actually, in any industry, any loan, if you go, two things underwriters check:
Mhm.
intention and ability.
Okay.
Intention, you see what they have taken previous loan, whether they have paid or not. That's one part.
Yeah.
Ability is whether whatever amount I'm funding, whether that will come back or not. Now,
Hmm.
education loan will be slightly different in saying it's the student's future income. It's
Yeah.
not his parents, it's the student who is going to give me. So I would see if the student is excellent and if he has gone into a college or where he is very clear that what he wants to do, then we will find ways to fund it, regardless of their parents' profile. So we have students who have probably come back. Their parents have come back and told us that my son has got $1,20,000 salary, starting salary. Some have said 1,50,000 starting salaries. The parents were either had a very small provision shop, some had farmers, 2 or 3 acres of land, some had a very small shop, some had an event management company or a wedding planner, something like that. With that background, they wouldn't have thought their child would go and study in that. But if we know the student is good,
Yeah.
and if we are very clear, then yes, there is funds will not be an obstacle for good students to achieve their dream. It's very proper that if student is sorted, he is very clear what he wants to do. And again, as I said, any previous loans, if you don't see bigger defaults, we will find ways to structure a case. And that's what, if, when I say NBFCs, private sector education loan in companies like Credila or Avanse, what they have done. And again, the motto of Avanse, I'll say, our motto is to democratize education loan. It will not be dependent on from which background you come. If your college, if your intent, your ability is good, you will get funding. That's a simple matter.
Okay. Okay. So, on the collateral note, so collateral versus non-collateral loans, which one should a student choose? So, because both have their different pros and cons.
So, my suggestion is I wouldn't grade one better than the other. It's
Hmm.
more individualistic. It depends on the student's profile in terms of whether he has an collateral to offer in the first place. See, there are students who do not have. Shekhar just now mentioned few profiles which were done purely based on the student profile, right? So that's the pivotal thing that we look at. And some of them would more or less be unsecured as well. So rather than drawing a comparison of which would be a better option to go to, there may be certain students who have the option to give one, but some don't have the option to give. So
Yes.
yeah, so we have both options, both collateral versus. I wouldn't grade one better than the other. If somebody has both the options, then I would definitely tell them going to the collateral route would give them a better ROI
Okay.
as it is in the industry elsewhere as well.
Hmm.
But would somebody having that want to give it or not would be the individual's choice. Correct. So we get a blend of both collateral back loans also, and in Credila also, and non-collateral back loans. So if you look at it, there might be about a share of about 35-40% of secured, and there may be a 60-65% of unsecured, with majority of trend now moving towards unsecured loans, since there are certain countries wherein which handsome of loan of 25 to 30 lakhs, there are certain people who prefer to go for the unsecured road afford despite having a collateral, and they won't
Yes.
find that marginal difference of an ROI would matter to them. So it still becomes an individualistic choice. But having
Yes.
said they have a choice, I would always suggest that they go to the collateral because it's
Collateral.
quite cheaper for them, and the chances of approval will always be better, irrespective of the other two, combinations which are present on the loan, which would include the co-borrower and the student. The but however, when you look at it from a collateral or a non-collateral loan per se, whenever you are choosing either one of it, I would always ask the student to evaluate both the options if you have them, see what works out better for you, because there is also the quantum of loan some are looking at. If the quantum of loan unsecured will always have a limitation on what maximum loan we can do for a specific country based on the country. If it is an let us assume a collateral backed loan where there is an opportunity where you would want a higher loan amount for a good college, then you are just backing out because you want to go to the non-collateralized route. Although you have a collateral, I would rather suggest the student to go to the collateral route to utilize the entire amount, because not to discount on their dreams, because
Yes.
that's the evaluation they should truly do. Coming to one more difference between a collateralized and a non-collateralized is also on the time frame. Certain students come very at the B end of the cycle asking for a very quick decision. So in such scenarios, there's always a shorter TAT for a non-collateralized loan versus a collateralized back loan. So these are certain factors, including the TAT, the availability, the ROI, which they should look at their individual disposal, and then come to a decision of which would be a better route for them or not. Having said that, we give both in almost similar tandem. Yeah.
Okay. So, Mr. Rao, again,
Yeah.
to you. Collateral
Yeah,
versus non.
as a lender, we would definitely prefer collateral. We would be extremely happy if the collateral is coming. As a student, probably he would not want to block his parents' property. So this is
Yeah.
two kind of things. But at the same time, certain countries, their visa requirement has the loan has to be collateral backed. In that case,
Okay.
students have no other option. They would say, okay, this is a requirement, we are giving you a collateral. There
Huh.
are cases where probably some repayment history profile, students' academics are kind of weak, where they would want to strengthen it with collateral. Simple
Hmm.
answer, you ask a lender like me, I would say I would want every case with a collateral, but that's not how market works. For a student, again, it depends on them. If they want to give a collateral and they have an option, yes, they should give a collateral. If they don't have a collateral, they should not be discouraged that they will not get a loan, they will get a loan. So ideally, it's kind of mainly driven by student, mainly driven by probably their visa rules.
Okay. So let's on the interest rate side. How can a student secure the lowest interest rate? So is there any tactics, or is there anything that can help them with securing a lower interest rate?
One would be definitely the university, if they're choosing a very good university and a very good course based on their academics throughout, would play a role in the this thing. And the more basic, and which is obvious for all the banks, and which is very much the very last topic we talked about, collateral versus a non-collateral loan, obviously there'll be a difference of ROI. So if you are giving a collateral, then obviously the rate of interest would be far better compared to a non-collateralized loan. Second, it would also be determined on the kind of universities, the top 200 universities that you're going. So there will always be a differentiation based on student quality of education. Third, we'll also look at the co-borrower finally, and what is the strength of the co-borrower, and because from a lender perspective, I would always see the given money can be repaid or not. We have mentioned it multiple times in the forum startingly. So all these play a role in if the ability to repay is good. Obviously, the ability of a student graduating from say a X university to a Y university, they will have different salary brackets, correct? So the ability to repay will differ between the from which particular university and course and ranking they are kind of graduating. That will play a role. And the co-borrowers having a very good salary income or a very good business income will also provide stability that would obviously help in reducing the ROI. Thirdly, would be the collateral. If you can give us, somebody has a collateral equivalent to the value of the loan, then they'll get the least. someone who doesn't have the collateral which is equivalent to the loan value, but somewhere in between. So that will I would always suggest them to go ahead and give whatever they have as a collateral still, because that will not be charged as high as an unsecured, won't be charged as low as a completely secured, but you will find some rate
ROI will be good.
in median. So that will also kind of give them a rate relief. So I think three primary factors which determine, and also the repayment in the previous loans that they've taken. If they've been good, have they been immaculate, then these also play to a certain extent on kind of helping get a better rate.
Rao.
I say the pricing is always a risk-based pricing. It depends that what we perceive is employability of a student, his the college ranking and everything. So risk-based, I mean, again, let me put it this way: pricing will be determined based on country to country. It will US probably, if I say country, then the college ranking. So internal of our classification, if I say, which probably would not matter to students, but we would have platinum, titanium, and gold. Top 50 colleges, next set of 70, 80 colleges, rest 200 college, 300 colleges. If you are getting admission into that, yes, there are better prices. Student academics, then again, hover over profile, their repayment, their civil histories. So these are, as the weakness in the application keeps on increasing, certain price points keep on increasing. But at the same time, with collateral, yes, you get the best price. You are going for the best universities, yes, you get the best price. And third most important aspect, those who apply early usually get a better price. Someone who's coming at the last moment, I know, but by that time I would have exhausted my probably weighted IRR and all. I would not be in a position to give any specific ROI. So someone who's coming at the last moment, I would not be able to give any price, regardless, even if they are going to good universities. Always one option: apply early to get a
As
better
early
rate.
as possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's been the essence of what Credila has always started on, some and we started that concept of Project Sampurna for this very reason, which is very well known in the industry, where in which admits, they don't receive admits, they have not yet kind of got their I-20s, but we still push them to kind of apply very well in advance as soon as they complete their examinations, because this not only acts as a proof of fund for them, this also gives them the confidence, so that they know exactly what they're eligible for. And like Shekhar mentioned, it also helps them to secure good rates at an early point, rather than speeding up things at the last leg of the admission cycle. So Credila has always been on top of this. In right from the start, we always advise students to apply early. Kind of helps them kind of get good rates
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
I agree. I feel like if you're in a rush, you would neglect many important things. I agree on that. Okay. So moving on to something that I guess all of us do, mistakes. So what are the biggest mistakes or some few mistakes that a student can not make or while applying for the loans?
Yeah. So
Or
if you
if you
ask
guys,
me,
because you guys have been dealing with
correct.
students,
So
you guys have known a pattern or something the students make again
it's
on
been a
this.
decade. Yeah, it's been a decade since I've been a little over than a decade. Then I've been seeing, and I've been part of Credila since then. So right from the point I've joined till now, what I've seen as one common error which most students do is, I always suggest, whenever you're doing your documentation, always be make sure it's complete. It's
Hmm.
always better to hand over the entire set of, and also one is complete documentation, another one is complete information. So it's always better that you share the complete details with your loan lender. Just like how they say, when you are suffering from a disease, you go to a doctor. You have to be very, very,
Transparent.
transparent with them to be able to share everything. Your
Yes.
previous, your past history of incidents, and then let them know about it. The better they are able to give you. So generally, what I have seen over the past is, when they come, they have a certain kind of a barrier. when they're speaking to a lender, trying to give facts which are not completely in nature, or maybe it doesn't completely hold the entire information about the student. So it becomes difficult for us also to be able to structure a loan the way it's supposed to be structured. So
Hmm.
this not only helps in getting their loan faster, higher sanction ratios, but also helps in getting better rates if they share the entire information. Secondly, when they're giving a documentation, we always suggest that give the documentation incomplete. Even when it
Hmm.
comes to a collateral backed loan, see, people are very selective when they're giving the set of documents when we send out a list of documents that we need for a collateral. So we always advise at Credila to make sure that whatever documentation you have brought, when you brought it from an ex vendor, so make sure you give that entire set of documents. It becomes easier because multiple iterations over the loan amount not only is time consuming for the student, but also time consuming for the lender as well. And it's win-win if they do the sharing of the information, sharing of the documents in a very transparent and a more detailed manner right from the start. This is one thing that I've observed.
I agree. So apart from these things, so Mr. Rao, do you have any else? Well, I'm sure you also
Mainly,
have. Hmm.
this is when we are lending public money, so we have a
Hmm.
responsibility that we
Yeah.
have to give right people this amount because we are custodians. The only one mistake which is the much bigger and where we cannot do anything is someone who's misrepresenting information, giving a fraudulent or manipulated documents. I would expect everyone to please be truthful. Before you apply the loan, please check your CIBILs if you can check. Please check your bank balances and everything. Normally, I mean, banking and all, your parents and yours. And whatever the information that you provide to any lender, be truthful. See, one lender will not be able to do, second will be able to do, but on the same information. But you, if you try to manipulate or and that again, I would say, do not come get influenced by other people. There are, I would say, agents, or there are people who would influence students, even the decent students, and probably they would end up, because you get declined in one organization on these part, it will be actually cascaded to every other organization. They will find it very difficult to get, even though that organization would have gone ahead and done that case with those set of documents and information, they would not do, because they knew that somewhere else there has been some manipulation. Most important, and a request that whatever the documents, be prepared, as others said, prepare your documents completely, check your CIBIL, have your bank statements ready, your documents ready. This is a very important step. And at the same time, be very truthful about your
Yeah.
information.
If you don't have a document, you can say you don't have. You guys can help them with that. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was super insightful. I'm damn sure ki all the students must have learned something from the five questions that I asked. So thank you, Mr. Adarsh, and thank you, Mr. Shekhar, for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you,
So
Sam, and thank you for the entire Zolve team to giving us the opportunity to share our little knowledge of whatever we have for being
oh no.
students. So thanks a lot.
If you guys
Thanks
have
a lot.
little knowledge, then we don't have no knowledge.
Thanks a lot, all the participants, and Sayam to
Thanks a
you,
lot.
to Zol team, and others. Nice to meet you. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Shekhar. I say, thanks for